But that novel that I'd written, it found a publisher, because once you do break in, it's a whole lot easier to get other things published, or at least back then it was. The novel was about a pastor, because they say write what you know, so I wrote about a pastor, because that's what I had been. And it was a pastor who had lost his family in an automobile accident that he had caused. Remember, this is just a made-up story, it's just a novel. But he was struggling with the goodness of God. And then 2 kids are dumped into his lap. They're being chased by a crazy killer religious cult, and he's got to rescue them. And in the process, he comes to grips with why God kept him alive, even though he lost his family. Well, when I submitted that novel, my literary agent, you get to have a literary agent once you get the book out there, it makes you feel very important. Really doesn't mean that much. But my literary agent got it into 3 publishers. They were competing for it. And Tyndale House picked it up. They published it as under the title Blind Sight in 2003. And when that book came out, there was a lot of hype from Tyndale. There was a lot of excitement because I was an up-and-coming young fiction writer. And there were great things expected. And I expected really great things, particularly money. Because I figured this book is going to sell. In fact, it had only been out a few months. And when it was out a few months, I got my first royalty check, and it was $800. And I said, this is wonderful. Book's only been out a few months. If the first check is $800, what's it going to be 6 months from now? $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. I was going to be the next Frank Peretti, John Grisham, fill in any famous name you want. I had made it. And I said, God, this is wonderful. You worked it out. You're gonna totally underwrite everything I'm doing. And that was great for the next 6 months as I anticipated my second huge royalty check. Well, 6 months later, my second royalty check, I'll correct that, my second royalty statement arrived. I was waiting with great anticipation as Laurel brought in the mail. I was sitting in my recliner. My hands trembled as I began to open the envelope to see how big my check was going to be. And I pull out the paper inside and open it up, and there's no check. I look in the envelope again, maybe it got stuck in there. There was no check. And then I opened up my statement and began to read, and there was a very sad, consoling letter from my agent apologizing. Not only did I not have a $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 check, I was in the hole $2,500. Now, that's not money I had to pay back, but it was money that the book would have to earn back before I'd ever see another penny. I was shattered, and I'm not exaggerating that either. I had built up such big hopes of being a super famous author. And it all came crumbling down. And I wept in my chair as I held that letter, because everything I'd figured out, I'd worked God's plan out for him, and my plan didn't work.